Hi yogis, welcome to our practice which is called Bend and Don't Break. We've worked our way in this standing balance series through almost every standing balance, and we've learned how differently those balances can feel in our body and how which ones are challenging and which ones are not as challenging for us. And so the intention behind this practice is to put some of these balances together into more of a sequence, so that we can think about and focus on finding balance between the poses that we find easier and the ones that we find more challenging, because the ones that we find more challenging are actually the ones that we should be doing. That's what our body actually needs, as hard as that sort of feels when you're doing it. So just some of the things that we're doing, I will need to make modifications for myself. It is a beginner level practice and I'll be offering you modifications. You might need a strap and you will need a brick or a stack of books or something that can substitute for the brick. I've recently had a plate taken out of my arm about 10 days ago. Oh, Deb's come in to say hello. And so I'm still kind of getting my mobility back there, so there's a few things that I might not be able to do. So just watch this space, because there will be some wrist strengthening and upper body strengthening videos in the very near future as I start to work on that more and more myself. So we're going to begin. We're going to do some balances, standing balances that use an opening up of the hip, opening up at this external rotation at the back of the hip and at the front of the hip, taking the leg back. So what you're going to do to begin with is take your brick on this way round, and you can have it on the lowest level, but you're going to put it along your spine, not on your lower back. You want your shoulders to be able to be free of the brick, and you can choose a position. And if it's too much for you, if you feel as though like your head is really arcing back, then you can use your blanket or something else and just slide it underneath your head. So from here, you're just going to take your arms out by your sides and just allow yourself to kind of melt over the brick. Use this time, even though we're actually in our first pose, use this time to think about softening wherever you meet resistance, wherever you meet the sensations from whatever activities you've been doing before you got on your mat. So you might be practicing in the morning, so there's not as much there. You might be practicing in the evening, so there's a lot of things to process. But just let yourself feel it. See if you can melt that resistance by softening around it wherever you find it. And we've got some chest opening in this first sort of pose, with, even though it's passive, there is that chest opening there, so it's a little bit different when you're breathing. So see if you can still start to take even inhales, even exhales, and allow yourself to be focused more inwards, moving from the physical body to the breath body, and using your focus on your breath to start to allow whatever chatter is going on in your mind to quieten down a little bit. So your mind is the same. Whatever else has happened to you, some of that is still going to be kind of whirring around in your head. And you're just going to allow that to quieten down a little bit. And then keep the same position with your brick, but Open up your legs so you get a little bit of hip opening, and then bring your arms overhead and hold opposite elbows. So opening up a little bit into the shoulders, you're going to get a little bit more of a chest opener in this position as well. Maybe you can walk your hands a little bit further up. And you can always, at any time through this practice, pause your video and spend a little bit longer in any pose. And then just switching the cross of your elbows, letting gravity take your arms, so there's no effort. Your arms may come down to the floor, or like mine, they're not all the way down to the floor, but there's no effort. I'm not trying to hold my arms up in any way. I'm just trying to relax as much as I can. Just 2 more breaths. And then releasing the arms down, just rolling to one side, setting your brick off to the side, and then rolling back, extending your legs like a little mini Shavasana, and the part of your spine and your shoulders that were not touching the floor, that were elevated, just to feel those reconnect with the floor, get really, really grounded. And then you're going to hug your knees into your chest. Have a little rock side to side. Just a little massage for your lower back. And if you've any disc issues, or there's any problems in your neck, then you're just going to drop your knees all the way over to the side and come up onto all fours. If you can rock forwards and back on your spine, just giving your spine a little bit of a massage all the way from the neck down to the tailbone, and then coming all the way up, got my lesson plan, and come onto all fours. So I'm just going to switch myself around so that you can see my good hand, so that you're not confused and you're not doing what I'm doing on this other hand. So I'm going to walk my hands a little bit further forwards than our regular all fours position. And then I'm just going to start to do some little circles. So this is one of the ways that, one of the things that I'm using to bring the mobility back into this wrist of mine, into this right wrist. And I'll just gradually bring my hands back over time so that I can take a little bit more weight. So you can bring your hands back so that they're underneath your shoulders. And then I'm just going to circle in the opposite direction. So a little bit of warmth building up through the shoulders, and some mobility, some more mobility in the hips. And then walking your hands back so that they are underneath, your wrists are underneath your shoulders. And then just a few little cat and cow movements. So as you inhale, pull back with your hands, lift your sit bones, lift your chest, lift your gaze, let your belly soften. And as you exhale, other way, so push the floor away, round your spine, lift your navel up, tuck your chin into your chest, and draw your tailbone down towards the floor. Inhale. And exhale, rounding in. One more, inhale. and exhale, rounding in. And then you're going to step your right foot forward. So if you want to put something underneath this knee, you can. If you want to have a brick or a couple of bricks for any hamstrings tightness, you can take those to the front of your mat. And you're going to square off your hips, hug your inner thighs together, stabilize your pelvis as you come up, and then maybe drop your hips down so you feel a little bit more of a stretch through the front of this left thigh. And then take your hands back behind you, interlace your fingers. You can have your palms open, you can have your elbows bent, depending on the strength, or not the strength, but the movement you've got in your shoulders, or you can bring the heels of your hands together. And you're going to drop your hands down and lift your chest. Or if you've got your elbows bent, you're going to press your thumbs into your sacrum and lift your chest up. So take one more big breath in, and then as you exhale, release your fingers down to the floor, and you're going to straighten this right leg, stacking your left hip over your left knee. And this is where you can use a brick to at any height. So the higher your brick is, the easier it is to straighten this right leg. Okay, and you can have a brick underneath each hand. I just didn't bring 2 bricks. And you're going to kick your heel down, pull it back, square off your hips, lift your chest again, lift your sit bones. Feel the stretch through the back of that right leg as a counter pose, and then rebend that right knee, slide your right foot back and come all the way down onto your belly. Little bit of back strengthening work. So your feet are about hip width apart, your palms are facing in, and you're going to push your feet into the floor so that it engages the backs of your legs a lot, and then push your hips or your pubic bone, the front of your hips, into your mat. And then big breath in, lift your head and shoulders, lift your arms, and you're just going to do little pulses, seeing if you can keep your toes on the mat. So these sort of little movements are really strengthening for the whole of the back, the muscles in the back. For 3, 2, and 1. Bring your hands back either side of your shoulders, and then inhale, come up into a little cobra, and exhale, pressing back into a child's pose. So we're only going to be here for a couple of breaths, just a little break between sides, but you can slide a blanket between your thighs and your calves or underneath your head if you want to make it more relaxing if you're not able to get your hips down and your head down. And then come back onto all fours. And 3 more cat and cow. So inhale, lift your tailbone, lift your chest, lift your gaze. Exhale, go the other way, push the floor away and round. Inhale, and exhale, rounding it. 1 more, inhale, and exhale, rounding in. Stepping your left foot forwards this time, and then you can untuck your back toes, square off your hips, pull your inner thighs towards one another, sink your hips down, and then reach your arms back, same thing. Inhale, lifting your chest up, dropping your hips down. So it's like you're sliding your hands back down this back leg, lifting your chest, pulling your chin back, so you're not throwing your head back. And then releasing your hands down. Grab your brick if you needed it on the other side, stacking your hips, and then pulling back on this left heel as you draw your heart forwards, reaching your sit bones, your tailbone back behind you. And then rebend that right knee, left knee. Slide that leg back, come back onto your belly. Bringing your hands down, so your palms are facing down. Same actions with the legs. And then from here, inhale, lift your head and shoulders. Maybe lift your legs. Maybe reach your arms back. So Shalabhasana. Really push out through your feet. Push down into your hips. Reach your arms back, lift your chest, and then slowly lower down. Press, hands either side of your ribs. Inhale, come into a little cobra. And then exhale, back to child's pose. So just take a couple of breaths there. Just feel into whatever sensations you've created in those poses, in those transitional poses. And then come back onto all fours, and you're going to press up to, oh no you're not just yet. From here, you're going to step your right foot forwards again, and then you're going to pick up this left knee. So if you want to keep your left knee down all the time, then you can do that. And you're going to square off your hips and really use this back leg. So you're lifting your heel, you're engaging the back of the leg, and then inhale, reaching your arms up. And as you exhale, sweeping your arms back, same thing. Opening up the chest. Take a big breath in, and you can stay here or reach your chest forwards. So a little bit of core work, core stability, using that back leg, really reaching your knuckles back, and then release your fingertips to the floor, and you're going to straighten both legs. So again, reach for your bricks to put underneath your hands, and then square off your hips again. Draw your heart forwards. And then little bend in your right knee. You're going to step your left foot forwards and switch sides from there. So your feet are hip width apart because you're coming into your high lunge on this other side, into your crescent pose. So really lift your right heel, square off your hips, hug your inner thighs towards one another. And you can use this left leg to help support you as you come up. Or if your balance is challenged right at the moment, then you can lower this right knee back down to the floor and repeat what we did before. So you're going to inhale, reach your arms up, really using that back leg. Exhale, take your arms back behind. Inhale, lift your chest. And then exhale, really use the back leg. So I'm pushing back with my right heel and I'm hovering. And then releasing your fingers to the floor, just stepping this right foot in a little bit and straightening both legs. So you're trying to square off your hips again, sliding your bricks underneath your hands if you need them, and reaching your heart forwards. And then a little bend in your left knee, step into your left foot and bring your feet hip width apart. Hands on your shins if your fingertips don't touch the floor. Straight legs. Again, lift your seat, lift your heart, lift your gaze. And then as you exhale, bend your knees and fold in. So if you can straighten your legs, fine, you can straighten your legs. Otherwise, keeping your knees bent. And then push into your feet and inhale. Come all the way up to stand, join your palms. And exhale, hands to your heart. So from here, your right leg's going to be your standing leg. And you're going to bend your knees and really let the weight drop through this right foot, grip with your toes like we've been doing. And then you're going to take hold of your left foot with your left hand and re-straighten your right leg and see if you can get your knees even. And then you're going to reach your right arm up. So Natarajasana, one of the versions of Natarajasana. start to push your foot into your hand and lift your leg up and reach your fingertips forwards. Doesn't matter how high your leg lifts. And then from here, you're going to bring your right hand back to your heart, and you're going to bring your left hand to your heart. You can bend your right knee and you're going to straighten your left leg for Warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. And if you can straighten that right leg, you can straighten it, but it's fine to keep the leg bent. And you're going to push back through your left heel and draw your heart into your thumbs, and then slowly come back up. Woo. So those are your ones with your, these are the ones with your legs going back, so you're stretching out the front of your body and using your back body. So second side, bend your knees, plant your foot, grip with your toes, and then reach back and hold on to your right foot. Hug your knees in. See if you can straighten that right leg, and then lift your left arm up and start to push your right foot into your hand. And pause. If you start to wobble, just pause, and then you're pushing your right foot back into your hand, reaching your left. You can bring your index finger and thumb together for a little mudra. And then bring your left hand to your heart and bring your right hand to your heart. And then start to press your right leg back. You can bend this left knee, or you can have the leg straight. Hold on. That makes me come out of it. So from here, press your foot back, draw your chest forwards, really push back through that heel, and then slowly come back up. Just shake out your legs. And now we're going to do some movements with the leg coming forwards and out to the side. So we're opening up, working to a different part of the hip. So again, your right leg is going to be your standing leg. Bending your knee, really planting that foot and gripping with your toes. So this time we're going to go the other way. You're going to bring this left leg up, hold on to the back of that leg, but you're pulling your ribs down, so there's some core work involved here. And then you're going to press that left leg straight. So if you want to pause and get your strap, you can put your strap around the ball of your right foot, and then you can lift that leg a little bit higher if you've got that mobility. So you can either hold the back of the leg and keep the leg a little bit lower, or you can reach for your strap, pushing your foot into your strap, pulling back with the strap. And then from here, you're just going to let your strap go. Keep your leg lifted, 10 little pulses, 10, pulling your ribs down, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then slowly bring that left leg down, join your big toe mounds, separate your heels, come into a chair pose. So from your chair pose, you're going to pick up your right foot is still your standing leg. Commit to the floor again, pick up your left leg and cross your left ankle over your right thigh. And then squat down a little bit lower, maybe find your mudra again and bring your arms out to the sides, flexing this left foot. And then bringing your palms back together, sliding that left thigh over and left toes to the floor. Right arm over, left arm under, or you can just have your hands at your heart. And then from here, maybe you can just play with lifting this left foot off the floor and balancing there. And then slowly unravel. And there's a lot of work in your legs, especially this right leg. So you can give that leg a little bit of a shake. And then we're going to move to the other side. So bending your left knee. So don't forget, as you bring this right leg up, you can just hold behind your thigh, and then straighten the leg from there. Or you can pop the strap around this right foot, the ball of the foot, commit this left foot to the floor, pick up your right foot, and then left hand on your hip, straightening your right leg, straightening your left leg as much as you can, and coming into your hand to toe pose. And then slowly release, set your strap down, point your toes, lift up, pull your ribs down, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower your right foot down. Bring the big toe mounds of your feet together, bend your knees, sit down, release your legs a little bit, bending your knees into Utkatasana, your chair pose. And then this time your left foot's going to still be your standing leg foot. You're going to pick up your right ankle, cross it over your left thigh. Squat down a little bit, maybe take your arms out to the sides and join your thumbs and index fingers. So awkward chair pose, another balance that we've done. And then bring your palms back together and cross your right thigh high up over your left. Bring your right toes to the floor for balance, and then just come down a little bit deeper, and you can stay with your hands at your heart, or you can take your right arm underneath your left. And then you can just play with picking up your right foot and just playing with your balance there. And then slowly unravel. And from here, we're going to come straight down to the floor. We're just going to do 2 stretches to finish. So they're going to be in a straddle position with your legs. So everyone's legs are different, and your legs might be much wider than mine, they might be much narrower than mine. And you can also slide a blanket underneath your hips. That's going to make it much more comfortable and help you to tip forwards a little bit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to let the toes turn in. So now we feel the stretch more in the outer seams of the legs. And then I might just need this to demonstrate for you. Turn your toes in, bring your hands either side of your hips, and then inhale, lift, really root down through your seat, get lots and lots of length through your spine, and then keep pushing your fingers back and down to tip you forwards. And you might only come like an inch or so forwards, and that's absolutely fine. We're all different, and it takes a lot of practice for a lot of people to get deeper into these stretches. So the other option is to bring your elbows onto a brick or a stack of bricks, but the same action wherever you end up with your arms. So it can be hands on the floor, it can be elbows on bricks, it can be elbows all the way down to the floor. Can you push down and pull back to keep lengthening your spine? So you're not just collapsing your head down towards the floor, you're lengthening your spine. So these the whole sort of category of seated poses, a lot of them are called forward folds, and that's the key word. You're trying to come forwards. It's not about getting down, because the more you come forwards, can you see? So I can move my brick forwards, I'm going to come down anyway. But if I try and come down first without getting the length, then all that's going to happen is my spine's going to be really, really rounded. And then keep pulling back through the elbows, sliding your shoulders back and drawing your heart forwards. And then just walk yourself back up and let your feet fall back now. So now it's going to go more into the inner seams of the legs. And then again, fingertips either side, find the length, and then start to work on the depth. So your inner thighs are rolling back behind you. And again, it's a balance. Some people are going to be more externally rotated through the hips and find this position a lot easier. Some people are going to be the exact opposite and be more internally rotated and find the first one a lot easier. So we're all different, but it's finding that balance and not avoiding the ones that are more challenging for us. So again, I can come lower in this one. This one is more is easier for me. But whatever stage you're at, you're going to do that pulling with your elbows or your hands. So you're pulling back, but you're not actually moving your hands or your elbows. But these are the energetic alignments where it's that internal activation that's going on in the muscles that you can't necessarily see, but there's a lot of work going on internally. And then slowly walking your hands back up, picking up your legs, bringing them back in, and then you're going to come down onto your back for your rest. Well-deserved rest. So just set everything off to the side. You can use anything that you normally use to make yourself more comfortable. And I like to hug my knees in towards my chest. Take a big breath, and as you exhale, lift your head and shoulders, curl up into a little ball. So closing off the front of the body, sealing in all of your practice, and then releasing, opening up. So make yourself comfortable and let your body drop down. Find that quality of surrender. And allow yourself to move into a place of relaxation, of nourishing, of revitalizing your body. So you can pause the video, take as long as you've got to stay in Shavasana, a really important pose. And then when you're ready to come out, you can have a stretch and draw your knees in, roll onto your right side. And then when you're ready, pressing down into your hands. So, last but not least, I want to thank you for allowing me to be your guide, for sharing your practice with me, and I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next video.